right, John, I seriously need to catch my breath after that live stream. I mean, 5.5 hours. Marvel really knows how to, build the hype, right?
Totally. It was more than just hype, though. It was strategic. I think that level of anticipation they created, it really managed to steal the spotlight from every other piece of movie news this week.
Wait, hang on. Steal the spotlight. I love that phrase. Could you, break it down for the folks listening?
Of course. So, to steal the spotlight means to take attention away from someone or something else, usually in a spectacular or unexpected way. It originally comes from theater, where a literal spotlight shining on one performer suddenly shifts to another. In movies, we can think about big reveals or show-stopping moments that grab all the attention.
Okay, so this live stream was totally one of those moments. I mean, everybody knew the Avengers cast was going to be exciting, but then they just, bam, dropped Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom right at the end. Who saw that coming?
Right? And what an entrance. The fact that they kept zooming in on that chair with his name on it, and then that Alan Silvestri score fading in, it gave me chills.
Chills. Yes, and RDJ. Wait, can I call him RDJ? Anyway, his little shh to the camera, iconic.
It really was. I also loved the way they highlighted the returning cast members, like Chris Hemsworth as Thor and Tom Hiddleston as Loki. It's like a reunion tour, but with superheroes.
Oh, and don't forget the mix of new faces, too. Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman, Channing Tatum as Gambit. That's a wild lineup.
True. It feels like they're, threading this massive needle by, somehow, bringing together the MCU, the X-Men universe, and now the Fantastic Four. It's ambitious to say the least.
And ambitious is the understatement of the year. But you know what? I gotta say, Marvel fan or not, they've made this movie's cast the event to talk about. Just, wow. Okay, John, speaking of Marvel's jaw-dropping moments, you know what always gets me in that superhero mindset? It's the phrase, suit up. I mean, it's such an iconic and dramatic way to kick things off, don't you think?
Totally. Suit up is such a great example of a phrasal verb that's become a catchphrase in the superhero world. And it's not just about literally putting on a suit.
Right, exactly.
It's about preparing yourself for action, getting ready for something important. Think of it as a metaphorical way to say, get ready to face a challenge.
Oh, that's nice. Everyday folks can totally use it, right? Say you're about to, give a big presentation or something. You're like, time to suit up.
Exactly. It's a great way to express readiness in a fun way. And while we're in superhero mode, let's add assemble to the mix. It's a classic thanks to Avengers Assemble.
Yes, that's the one that gives you goosebumps every time. What does assemble mean, though, for our non-native listeners?
Good question. So, assemble means to come together, often for a specific purpose. In real life, you might use it for, let's say, assembling a team for a group project, or even assembling furniture.
Yes, assembling furniture. A battle in its own right.
You're not wrong. And then there's launch, which we hear all the time in superhero movies when they're starting a mission or project. Like, we're going to launch this plan. But in daily life, you could use it to talk about launching a new product or
launching into a new hobby.
Exactly. And let's not forget face-off. It's used when opponents confront each other directly, like how superheroes face off against villains. In a casual context, it might be used for friendly competitions, like a sports match.
Okay, pause. So if I say, I'm facing off against John in trivia, does that work?
It works, but I'll warn you, trivia is my superpower.
Oh, it is? We'll see about that.
All right, but seriously, superhero movies really spotlight these kinds of verbs. They're not just action-packed, they're language-packed too. And the quotes like Avengers Assemble show how dynamic this vocabulary can be.
Totally. Makes me want to suit up just talking about it. All right, John, speaking of dynamic storytelling, we can't ignore the biggest wild card from that live stream. Tenoch Huerta Mejia is back as Namor. What's your take on that?
It's definitely a bold move by Marvel, considering all the controversy surrounding him. But it seems like they're trying to bring him back in the fold, so to speak, after that rocky period.
Back in the fold. I like how that sounds. It's what, like welcoming someone back after they've been out of the group?
Exactly. It's often used when someone is rejoining a team or community after being away for a while, whether a figurative fold or a literal one.
Okay, so Marvel bringing him back is like an olive branch?
Sort of, yeah. It gives the impression that they're reconciling and moving forward. The phrase has that sense of restoring trust, which I think is important here.
Right? And speaking of moving forward, how about Marvel's overall strategy? Like, they're just so, calculated when it comes to controversies.
They really are. Marvel seems to, navigate these tricky situations carefully, using their media presence to set the record straight. That's another, good phrase for delicate situations. It means clarifying facts or dispelling misinformation.
Ah, perfect. So if someone spreads rumors, you just set the record straight to clear the air. Love it.
Exactly. And all this wraps back to how language reflects actions. Look at their livestream. Marvel practically used it as a stage to say, "We're moving on," without directly addressing the noise. It's like using indirect communication, but still making a strong statement.
Totally. And for our listeners, here's a practice sentence. Despite the uproar, the veteran actor made a remarkable comeback. How's that for, like, summing up the whole vibe?
Perfectly put. It includes uproar, meaning public outcry or controversy, and remarkable comeback, which speaks to overcoming challenges. Those are some strong phrases to add to your vocabulary toolbox.
Love it. So, guys, what's the lesson here? Hollywood drama isn't just entertaining. It's packed with, like, next-level English expressions for you to explore. Fun and educational, right?
Couldn't agree more. And it shows how watching movies or following pop culture can seriously improve your language skills.
Well, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to try out those phrases in your own conversations.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect. Till next time, everyone. Take care.
The Doomsday Reckoning. The moment the livestream ended, the internet exploded. Social media feeds flooded with reactions, theories, and debates as Marvel fans processed what they had just witnessed. The long-awaited Avengers Doomsday cast reveal had finally arrived, and it was more than anyone could have imagined. Jake sat at his desk, fingers flying across the keyboard, engaging in a heated discussion on a fan forum. Did that really just happen? Did they seriously bring him back? He typed, his heart still pounding from the final reveal. The trailer had been masterfully orchestrated. For nearly 5 minutes, audiences were introduced to returning favorites. Chris Hemsworth reprising his role as Thor, Tom Hiddleston back as Loki, and even Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch, despite her ambiguous fate in Multiverse of Madness. But none of that compared to the final moments, the ultimate mic drop. The camera had zoomed in on an empty chair. The nameplate read, Dr. Doom. The crowd held its breath. And then, Robert Downey Jr. stepped into frame. "Shh," he whispered, placing a single finger to his lips. Jake had nearly fallen out of his chair. "This changes everything," he had shouted at his screen. Marvel had done the impossible. They had found a way to bring back the face of the MCU, not as Tony Stark, but as its most legendary villain. The internet was already ablaze with theories. Some argued this was a variant of Stark from another timeline, while others believed this Doom was an entirely new entity, one who had nothing to do with Iron Man but would carry RDJ's signature charisma and gravitas. Meanwhile, alongside Doom, new heroes were stepping into the fray. Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman. Channing Tatum, finally making his debut as Gambit. The crossover potential was unreal. Theories swirled through Jake's mind like a storm. Are they merging universes? Is this the beginning of Battleworld? He muttered, scrolling through Twitter, where number Doom S Day was inevitable trended worldwide. His phone buzzed. His best friend Maya was calling. "Jake, are you seeing this?" she practically screamed. "RDJ as Dr. Doom, I need to breathe." "Breathe? I haven't inhaled since the reveal," he replied. They threaded the needle perfectly, keeping the legacy alive while breaking new ground. This isn't just another Avengers movie. This is Marvel rewriting the future of the MCU. Maya gasped. And you saw the logo change at the end, right? The way it flickered for a second? Some people are saying that was a tease for the X-Men. Jake leaned back in his chair, letting the weight of it all sink in. Marvel had managed to do what they always did best: set the world on fire with possibilities. The next day, despite his excitement, Jake faced a dilemma. He had planned to see the movie's first screening with his usual group of friends, but one by one, they had backed out. Sorry, man, something came up. Work is killing me this week. Maybe next weekend? Excuses piled up like fallen dominoes. Frustrated but undeterred, Jake decided he wasn't going to let anyone else dictate his experience. This was his moment. So, he suited up, Marvel hoodie, Avengers cap, and his lucky sneakers, and headed to the theater alone. The cinema buzzed with energy as fans gathered, decked out in superhero merch, theories flying left and right. Jake grabbed his popcorn and settled into his seat, surrounded by strangers who shared his passion. The lights dimmed, the Marvel Studios logo flickered onto the screen, and in that moment, he realized he wasn't really alone. Marvel had assembled its fans once again, and as the first scene unfolded, Jake felt something stir inside him. He was exactly where he was meant to be. And as Marvel had proven time and time again, this was only the beginning.